Hey everybody, welcome to Gamesradar's preview of Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time.
Yes.
This is Michael Raparez, senior editor. With me is...
Scott Butterworth from PlayStation The Official Magazine.
So, we both played this
did.
just the other day, in fact. And we're starting out... one of the things we learned is that you don't always play as Sly and his friends. You also play as some of his ancestors.
Right. Each of whom appears to have a unique ability. The first one we're looking at here is, I think, called Leaping Dragon. This is
it's Rioichi
Cooper.
Cooper, yeah, he's an expert ninja and sushi chef.
Yes, because you can't have one without the other.
Mm-hmm. And his sushi restaurant has been taken over by the armed thugs of the villain El Jefe.
Yes,
and so he's trying to sneak through and find the keys, which are his sushi knives.
Yes. Which makes tons of sense.
Well, it makes about as much sense as an automated security camera in feudal Japan.
That's true. That is very true. Or a raccoon who's the sushi chef / expert ninja.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Bentley.
Yep.
All of the original voice actors are back, so fans will be happy to know that.
True. This was kind of challenging. You have to wait for the fish to spin around, and the game feels a lot like the classic Sly games. If you've played any of those, or if you played the Sly collection, it'll be pretty instantly familiar.
Yeah, despite the fact that this is actually being handled by a new developer, not Sucker Punch, but
Sanzaru.
Sanzaru.
Yeah, and you can see he just pickpocketed the guard there to get his knife.
Classic Sly stuff.
Yep.
I really love the audio cue when you sneak up on someone. You get these little walking bassline notes.
Dum, 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 dum.
It's very it's a really kind of perfect music cue. Mm-hmm. Yeah, as Michael mentioned, it feels very Sly Cooper. Fans of the series will be happy to note that this definitely feels like a Sly game, despite being developed by somebody new, and despite it having been 7 years since the last new Sly game actually came out.
You may notice those trees just now. They wobble. They can break if you stand on them for too long. There are plates in here that if you bump into them, they'll break and
alert the guards.
Yeah.
Also, you got a taste of Ryoichi's hilariously over-the-top and mildly offensive Japanese accent.
I am a ninja master.
Yes, kind of par for the course in the Sly Cooper series, though. Everything is kind of a caricature. I mean, look at
my finest knife.
See, there you go.
Sashimi will be perfect.
Oh god.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we should not be okay with that, but it's there you have it.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Cooper. It's always been about broad ethnic everything.
Sure.
But,
yeah, I mean, you'll be happy to know that each of the ancestors are some crazy caricature of some character archetype that exists. The next ancestor we're going to be introduced to in the next section is a kind of chivalrous medieval knight who's also kind of clumsy. Is a very Don Quixote-esque kind of character, but you'll see him in the next section we watch.
Yeah. Well, one thing also I want to point out, you may notice that they were careful to point out to us, is occasionally Ryoichi will have an arrow floating in front of him, and that's just kind of a thing that pops up automatically, tells you where to go in case there's any confusion.
Although you can actually bring it up manually by, I think, clicking the right stick. So if you ever feel lost and need to know where to go, if you're in a big room or something you can't find your way, you can click that. It'll give you a little hint where you need to head next. Kind of like Dead Space, where you project to the arrow on the ground. And obviously, all of the little glowing orange spots are places where you can jump to and interact. You basically have to jump with X and hit the circle button to interact with the landing point.
And it basically, hitting circle automatically yanks you to the point.
Yeah, so you don't it's not... Yeah, it doesn't feel like the game is holding your hand too much. It just actually makes the platforming feel really solid and nice. Because it would be really hard to hit some of those specific points just with complete manual controls.
Yeah. And we haven't seen it yet. We're going to see it in a little bit. Ryoichi does have an attack. Didn't really try out the standard Sly Cooper combo attacks, but there is a move that was kind of difficult to pull off, where you have to hit square and then triangle in quick succession. He's about to do it here.
And send El Jefe a message.
Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't even actually see that in my demo. I saw absolutely zero combat. It was just sneaking and then the next section.
I died so many times in the demo, and half of those times we're trying to pull that move off, and they're like, no, it's just real quick. Square triangle. Look, it looks like a charge move, but it's not.
Interesting.
Because
I didn't even bother trying to attack anybody, because that section that we just saw, whoever was playing in this canned demo did an excellent job of making it through without ever alerting the guards. But had he alerted the guards, it would have been an instant fail, and he would have had to have started from the previous checkpoint. So it was a purely stealth section with insta-fail, which is really
Yeah.
not great. I'm never a huge fan of instant fail stealth sections.
It's not fantastic.
But, I mean, it sort of makes it clear that this was a puzzle-based level.
Right.
It wasn't about trying to beat up the guards and make your way through. It was actually about finding the specific path through the debris of the level. So it was still very fun. I had a little bit of trouble with some of the platforming. I had trouble making sure I timed the interact button correctly to land on the proper spot, but it worked out fine.
Okay.
This section actually was a little bit easier.
We've moved on to the second section of the demo where
We're actually playing as Sly.
Yeah, we're playing as Sly. He's gone back in time for his ancestor Galleth.
Galleth.
Yeah, Sir Galleth. And this is showing off one of the new things, disguises.
Yes.
Sly now has disguises that give him special powers, and this one is
an archer costume.
Archer, yeah. The guy started to say Robin, and then it's like Archer costume.
That's trademarked.
No, actually it isn't, but it doesn't really matter. But the cool thing about this is you'll see there are these jugs of arrows, and when Sly approaches him in this costume, he can take one out and fire it at target like he's doing now, and it trails rope behind it. You can control it in midair, so there's some aftertouch there, and then you can use it as a tightrope.
So you're creating a path for yourself across the fireproof rope.
And one thing that is interesting they pointed out was that they're kind of creating a little Metroidvania thing where like you will see these things early in the game, and you won't necessarily know what they're for. They're just sort of like, oh, there's a pot of arrows over there and I can't do anything with it. But once you get the costume, you can go back to that earlier level and interact with it and find out what it does.
And it sounds like usually that's not going to be essential to progressing the story. It'll mainly be for like collectibles or special items, things like that aren't necessarily essential to your progress in the game, but are still going to be cool nonetheless and give you kind of a reason to backtrack and visit old areas once you have these new abilities. I think that each time period is going to have its own costume that you kind of earn in a specific way. So not only does each time period that you visit have a specific ancestor, it also has an unlockable costume which has some innate ability, in this case the ability to fire arrows, that you unlock in different ways depending on where you are in the game.
Yeah, well, also like during E3 we saw the gypsy costume that enables him to, I forget if it's disappear, turn invisible, something
along
like
those lines.
Yeah.
I can't remember. That would be a good thing to know right now.
It would be. How about
we're
anyway,
unprepared.
Hey, did you see those the frog trumpet things? The way their eyes shook when you jumped on the trumpets? That was pretty cool.
That. It's kind of
well,
a nice touch,
it's going to come up again.
Yeah, this section was actually really fun.
It was. And it takes pains to focus on the signs that are hanging around, the posters, which they also had hanging in the demo room when we went to play it. And just kind of fun little thing
Cute
showing
tie-in.
Sir Galleth getting tortured.
Yeah, we'll meet him here in a second. Yeah, like we said, this section was pretty easy, but it was also really fun. It's like just a well put together platforming section.
I really like the feeling of firing the arrows and being able to direct them.
Yeah, the controls were great. I mean, as long as you're kind of brave and willing to just jump from point to point with confidence, you were able to do it pretty easily.
Yep.
See right there, you just jump right on through the fire.
Yep, doesn't even matter.
So nothing complex about it, just good old-fashioned platforming, done right, solid controls.
I think he's about to fail this one on purpose.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I may be wrong.
The checkpoints, I think I failed once in this level.
Gotta show what happens.
Yeah. The checkpoints are also very generous. If you do die or fail, it restarts you really close to wherever you died, so you don't have to worry about it too much. Gamers who complain about how games aren't challenging these days are going to find more fodder for their argument in this game probably, but that doesn't change the fact that it was a lot of fun to play while we were there.
Yeah, it is a huge amount of fun to play. I mean, it is. There's always some worry when a new developer takes over a project.
Sure.
This really does feel like a classic Sly game. Yeah, they nailed the feel, the platforming. Like, there's really not much else to say on that count. Like, if you've played a previous Sly game, you have a sense of what this feels like.
Yeah, and the characters, I mean, obviously, the familiar voice actors are going to help the characters to feel like they've always felt, but the dialogue and everything felt reasonably true to the series as well. We're going to get a little bit of it here when Sly interacts with his ancestor Galleth. You can kind of see what we're talking about.
Yeah. This is a really enormous tent by medieval standards, by the way. This tent,
they loved big tents in the
This
Middle
tent
Ages.
dwarfs like most cathedrals. I find that kind of funny.
Well, like I said, they really loved their tents.
Yeah.
This is by far the trickiest part of the level here. We have the
took me
moving
a
target.
Second. It took me a second to figure out what I was supposed to do. Like, I can't hit that thing in the middle. Why? And then I realized, like, oh, that thing circling around is a target.
Yep. And Sly is, of course, agile and adept and able to cross No problem, no issue.
And I do remember they took pains to point out that the ropes are fireproof, so you don't have to worry about them burning away.
Yes. Thank you, Bentley. He's like your Q.
Yep.
Like James Bond. And we
here
made it! Yay!
And we've changed our clothes.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. Hey, but you can actually switch instantaneously between Sly's regular costume and his unlocked ancestor costume.
So this is an example of something else they talked about, that Sly's ancestors are like gods in the Thievius Raccoonus, the way that they're built up. But when you meet them, they're actually very flawed individuals.
Right.
And part of Sly's mission is that he actually has to help them become what they're supposed to be.
Right. It's very, very Back to the Future. You know, he's got to get his dad together with his mom, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
make history right.
He's got to convince Sir Galleth to be a heroic knight instead of a loser jester.
Yeah.
You make a good point, sir.
We're going to shut up and let you get an idea of what they sound like.
Forward, that we may strike a crushing blow against the black tyrant who imprisoned me.
Whoa, one thing at a time. Let's just get back to the hideout first.
So yeah, that's Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time. Hope you enjoyed this preview. It's coming out. When is it coming out?
I believe sometime later this year, sometime in fall, maybe September. I might just be guessing.
All right, well, keep an eye out for that one, and keep an eye out for further coverage on Gamesradar.com and in PlayStation, the official magazine.
Our May issue will have some crazy fun coverage, so tune in for that. It's on newsstands April 10th.